I had a conversation with Jehovah Witnesses the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I was on my walk. Went for my little walk. And they was out there. They was doing their thing. And I commended them because it was cold.
Yeah, it's really cold right now.
It was real cold. And they was out there and they was doing their thing. And I was like, they asked to speak to me. And I was like, you know what? You guys are committed because it's cold. I couldn't be standing out here waiting for people to walk past in this cold. So I'll speak to you. I'm layered up. I'll speak to you. And the conversation was cool. It was respectful. There was no conflict.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely sure. It's no conflict. It was a cool conversation. We reasoned a couple of things out. But at one stage, he said, he just got done telling me how God, obviously of the Bible, was all powerful, all loving, all knowing, omnipresent, omnipotent, all of those attributes. I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't trying to push on that point at that moment. And then he said to me, okay, we're going around and we're asking everyone a question. Given the state of the world today, we're asking everyone, where do you think evil comes from? You know, who do you think's responsible for evil? And I was like, well, in the context of what you've just explained, God, right? He's like, whoa, you can't, wait a moment, you can't say that. And I was like, well, God created everything, right? So he also created evil, surely. And I was like, no, but the devil's responsible for evil. And I was like, well, who created the devil? I was like, no, the devil fell. And I was like, fell from what? I was like, fell from grace, fell from being an angel. I was like, but who created that angel? And I was like, yeah, that was God, but that's not the same thing. And I'm like, whoa, you just got done telling me that God is all-knowing and all-powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So if he is those things, when he created this angel that was going to fall and become the devil, he knew the angel was going to fall and become the devil. Otherwise, he is not all-knowing. Right? And if he is all powerful, furthermore, he created the angel as such to become the devil. He's God, right? Perfection, no mistakes. So I'm like, so it's like, no, you can't say that. And I was like, yeah, but I'm just going by what you've placed upon
what you said.
Yeah, what you said, what you've placed upon this creator, this God. If you're going to place those attributes upon him, forget that I'm sure there's a quote in the Bible that directly says God created the evil thing. I didn't even go in that point. But I said, if you're going to place attributes upon this God, then you can't pick and choose when you apply those attributes. You can't say it's all powerful, all knowing, etc., except when it comes to the evil side of the world. Then that's not him. He didn't know about that. He didn't know about that.
It's nothing to do with
him. I was like, no, he's God, right? So if he is this God you proclaim him to be, then he's responsible for it all, both the good and the bad. So I said, you're going to run into too many problems when you place these attributes upon God, particularly the all loving, all good. And then you look at the world today and you've placed upon him all knowing and all powerful. That's not going to match up. So what makes more sense is that we live in a world of duality, right? So as we like to say as beings, that point of singularity, existence, how and why, that point of singularity from which all else expanded in the universe. We also have a book called The Cycles, where it explains that dot becomes a line, becomes a wall, becomes a square, and that square is divided equally. 180 degrees of one side, 180 degrees of the other. So we live in a dual world. We know this because we can't define certain things without their opposites. You can't define good without evil. You can't define hot without cold. We live in a dual world. This is by nature. So duality, polarity, opposites are just part of the world. So if God and the devil do exist in the form that you talk about in these religions, they would have to be equal and opposites, wouldn't they? They'd have to be. But what is, that whole line of thinking leads to confusion and can lead to a warped view of the world, in my opinion, if that makes sense. So you're better off when you look at the duality of the world, acknowledging that, and often it's perception anyway. Often what is good to one person might be bad to another. What is hot to one person might be cold to another. I know this for a fact. Been out there, and to me it's cold. I've got 5 layers on and I'm shivering, and I see these football fans bare-chested cheering on their team. And I'm like, huh?
Some people do not feel the cold.
It's cold. How are you? So perception often comes into it anyway, but you can be sure that the world is dual. And so your perception when you're dealing with that, oh God, all love, it's a warped perception. That's not how the world works.
Yeah. I always thought if you're going to put that on God, you're just better off acknowledging he encompasses both natures.
Yeah.
And I mean, no one ever likes to talk about Old Testament God. He was tearing it up.
Man, he was doing some things. Like,
he definitely had some opposing natures.
yeah, people was dying left, right, and center in the Old Testament, but they don't want to tell you about that. Those things was going on. I was like, this is wild. You make one mistake and God's like, all right,
you're done. You're done. It's over.
It's too far. It's too much. Forget the fact that he created you as such. Created you to be that way, then look down upon his creation like, nah, plagues and death and destruction. End it all. And I was like, whoa, you flood everybody. So yeah, no one talks about that. But that's just the reality. You're better off if you describe this entity, if you're going to go that way, as describing this entity as having both natures. Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to separate it and have God and the devil, then they're equals and opposites in nature, right? And in fact, I look at this world and I'd be like, damn, the devil's winning. The devil's winning right now.
And you said a word.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, it got to be manifestations of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why when we talk about the Sabaean teachings and we speak about ages of existence and people having their different times to rule and different natures being allowed, that will make more sense as in application to the world that we see. But yeah, in this world, what I would say is if you go looking for God, be prepared to find the devil as well, because that is the nature of existence. So yeah, I had to hit him with that reality, or at least a dose of reality, a little dose.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see what I did there. We're on fire today. Yeah.